If you're a veteran, whether you retired or were just discharged for medical reasons or whatever, you want to pay attention to the show today because there's a lot of questions going on about VA benefits and Medicare and all that, and what can you use, what you can't use. So we brought in the pro, Gary Smith from Gary Smith Agency. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me again.
It's good to see you as always, and it's funny that you are here because I just got an email the other day. Someone had wanted to ask these questions regarding this, and I thought we need to get Gary in and you had emailed said we need to do a show on this.
Absolutely.
Here we go. So what's going on with this now?
Well, when you're dealing with Medicare and VA, we were getting a ton of questions because when you deal with because you get the VA, then you also have people who are on TRICARE. So a lot of people get that confused. When you're dealing with VA, that's just people who just served and got out of the military.
Right.
And then most of those folks are eligible for VA benefits. When they become Medicare eligible, the rules change a little bit. Now, most of them don't realize that, which creates a lot of problems. One of the things we always tell everybody is VA does not require them to have Medicare. However, if you're using the VA exclusively, what happens to you if you have an accident outside the VA system? Well, there's where the confusion comes in. And what most veterans don't understand is that you now have Medicare, or you're supposed to have Medicare. Therefore, VA is not going to pay for your emergency room visit, car accident visit to the emergency room. And most of what I run into is ER visits because, you're able to get to the VA if you're sick, if you're using the VA. But when you have that emergency situation, where are you going? You're going to your local hospital. And of course, a lot of vets think, well, my VA benefits will cover that. And then they find out later they're not, stuck with a $500, $600, $700 bill. And then they won't ask why. And it boils down to the veteran, the VA system's not going to pay outside the VA if you have other coverage, i.e. Medicare, i.e. Medicaid, health insurance, and where you're working, which makes sense. The VA's having money problems anyway, so why should we pay for something when it should come from another bucket?
So like if, here at the station, we have insurance that covers us, health insurance. VA won't cover something that
your health insurance will
that
cover.
your health insurance will.
That's right, and that makes sense.
Sure,
they want to save the money for the people who need it. Because if you're not on Medicare, as an example, and you have an accident and go to the emergency room and you have no coverage whatsoever, VA picks that up.
Right.
But the minute you now get Medicare, a lot of folks forget that is insurance. Granted, it's got a $1,400 deductible and $198 deductible plus 20% of the bill, which generates a pretty hefty emergency room bill for you. So we tell everybody that in that scenario, there is policies that they can pick up that will provide them with coverage, and a lot of times the policies don't cost them anything, or maybe $10, and it will provide them with a $90 copay to go to the emergency room.
Oh, okay.
So we tell them all the time, if it's zero cost to you, it's not going to affect your VA benefits at the VA. This is going to provide you with coverage outside the VA system and provide you with a $90 copay at a local emergency room. Why wouldn't you at least look at that and consider that as an option?
And these are people, again, they're under the age of 65. They're not yet Medicare eligible.
No, this is for people who are on Medicare.
That are on Medicare.
That's
okay.
Right.
Okay.
Because again, once you have Medicare, obviously Medicare is going to provide you with coverage outside the VA system.
Gotcha.
And then another reason people look at having coverage outside the VA system is the drug coverage. VA provides them with drug coverage, so they're not required to have drug coverage. But as many vets know, you got to drive to the VA, meet with a doctor once a year to get your drugs filled.
Right.
But what if you live 50 miles away, 30 miles away, and you just need a sinus medicine? So they end up going to the local clinic and just end up going to local Walmarts or CVS or Walgreens and paying for the cost. So a lot of these plans provide them with coverage for drugs outside the VA. So there's a lot of advantages.
And a lot of these coverages they can get for nothing?
For nothing.
Wow.
That's one of the benefits that a lot of these plans are offering to the vets. Another thing the plan will provide them with a give back on their Social Security cost of the Part B. So right now the cost for Part B is running $144.50. They sign up for these plans, they'll give them money back, $40 to $50 back in their Social Security check.
Oh, wow.
So again, these plans are designed to work for vets. Now, you don't have to be a vet to get the plan, but they're geared towards vets. And so it's sort of like a give back to the vet community.
Tell us a little bit about the Choice program.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's another confusing issue when you're dealing with VA, veteran benefits, Medicare, and then you throw in the Choice program, which is now the community care program.
Right.
It was designed to help people who live outside 40-mile range and then cannot get to the local VA office. This has now evolved into the community care program. The key point I want to stress to people about that is, again, if you're on Medicare, the Choice program or the community care program probably won't pay because you have other coverage. So we tell people to be very careful about that, to make sure you understand the true benefits if you're utilizing that program. And the other thing is you have to enroll, so it's not automatic.
Ah,
and that's another point that people always get confused.
We have a couple of minutes left. Talk about Medicare and TRICARE.
Yeah, that's another one that gets brought up a lot. TRICARE, for those people, if you're in the TRICARE system, you're retired military, they require you to take Medicare A and B, where VA does not. So that's the source of confusion there. The other issue is, once you take your Medicare, do I need supplemental coverage? And in most situations you don't, because you have TRICARE. It's going to provide you with your gap coverage and your drug coverage. However, there are some benefits to looking at the Advantage plans, and it will then coordinate, TRICARE will coordinate with the Advantage plans. But we tell everybody, you know, be careful. Don't just jump into it. Make sure you know what you're doing, because you may realize that it's not really what I should have done. Now you're locked in the Advantage plan for the year, because you can't just get out of that Advantage plan.
Right.
So when you're dealing with TRICARE, you know, we tell everybody, you know, be careful and make sure you're making an informed decision on that.
When is a good time for, I mean, like at what age would be a good time for them to contact you and say, okay, I'm coming up on 65 here soon. What should I do? I'm a veteran or whatever.
Yeah, if you're a veteran turning 65, or you just got your red, white, and blue card and you're not sure what to do, we tell everybody, give us a call. Talk to us ahead of time before you make that decision, because like I said, in the Advantage plan, you can't get out of it.
Yeah.
Now you're stuck in it for a year. So, you know, more information is always better. My office is here to help you any way we can.
All right, Gary, thank you as always, man. You chop, because here soon I'm going to be calling you.
That's right.
I'm getting close to that 65 number. Again, if you have questions regarding any of this that we talked about today, call Gary. The number's on your screen there. You can set up an appointment and get your questions answered from the Gary Smith Agency.